Hello, 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 hello. Many of you may know me. My name is Ronald Smith, and I am the director for New Way Revolution Training. One of the things that I wanted to share with you really quick this evening, I'm outside sitting on my porch, so you may hear a few noises in the background, but that's okay. But one of the things I wanted to share with you is about developing. People want cultural change. Basically, they want to change the culture. But how do you develop the conditions for change? My dad was a sharecropper. And for those that know what sharecropping was, my dad grew up in the 30s and 40s. And my dad learned how to become, take the skill of sharecropping to actually support my family. But when my dad saw that the sharecropping was basically kind of a normal business for African Americans in some ways, but at the same time still taken advantage of. But he developed a skill in farming, and he learned how to actually use that skill to eventually support us and take care of us and build a house on property. I would love to share that story with you so much more in detail later. But my dad would take my twin brother and I out to harvest fruit. We would harvest vegetables. We would harvest like corn and potatoes and green beans, squash, watermelon was always our favorite because if we got hungry, we could just eat them out in the field. But he didn't take us out to prepare the land. My parents, my mom and dad, Adolphus and Mary Smith, they birthed 16 children, 9 boys, 7 girls. Yeah, that's right. Some of y'all are going like, what? Yeah, my mom sainted. They both have passed on. But my dad was birthing laborers. He's birthing laborers for the field because African Americans can afford labor. So my dad basically just birthed laborers. So my dad didn't take my twin brother and I out into the field except for harvesting. So we didn't know what it was like to prepare the land. And so at some point he took us out. He's like, I'm gonna take you guys out. And he took us out with him to prepare the land. And so we go out, we're thinking like, we're 10, 11, 12 years old. We're thinking like, it's not a big deal. We know what it's like to pick watermelon, corn, it's not. Yeah, let's do this, like whatever. We get out there and he gets on the tractor to give us a trash bag and gloves. And he says, now follow me on this tractor. Pick up all the trash you can see, weeds, bottles, cans, anything that, that is in the ground that comes out, pick it up and put in trash bags. I'm like, what? He sits on the tractor while we follow him on 5 acres of land. Okay. So anyway, we do it. And then oh my gosh, if out there all day, hot, when you're a kid, everything is amplified, 1,000 times worse. And, so we were really complaining a lot. We finally got it done. So we get it done, and then all of a sudden he comes back and says, okay, we'll come out a week later and do it again. We're like, no, we cleaned everything up. We got everything. We didn't leave anything. It's like, no, we'll go back and do it again. So we went back and did it again, and my brother and I thinking like, there's no way anything is in this ground. So he dropped those claws that he was dragging behind that tractor a little bit deeper in the ground. And lo and behold, things came out. And so we picked it up, not as much as was before, but we picked it up and we got it done, and we went through our routine of complaining again, and then we was like, okay, we're done with this, let's move on. And we did it great. And he's like, no, we got to go back out again. And we're just like, okay, now we're thinking he's punishing us. Now we're thinking that he's getting back at us in some kind of way. So anyway, we go out third time and we go out and do it again. Lo and behold, he dropped those claws a little bit deeper. And what I don't know until late in my life, that the claws that he's dragging behind the tractor is called a cultivator. So I didn't know that at the time. I wasn't educated, I didn't understand that. Matter of fact, I didn't care because I was complaining about how hot it was. So anyway, time goes on, and lo and behold, I realized that my dad came back and said, hey, I was more concerned about the condition of the ground than I was about the seed. He said, the seed is good, but if the condition is not right, we can't expect to come out and get a harvest. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, okay. And so later in my life, those principles became something that I use to teach in trainings that I do, and teaching businesses how to have high performance teams, or college campuses, how to create a culture of change and social acceptance, and all these things that we learn to do in high school classroom management, is that there must be an intentionality to create the conditions for change. And typically we have great seed, great information. I've met so many people with great products and great information, And the problem I found is in the principle of what my dad taught me, that if you're not willing to do the work in cultivating the conditions for change, then you're going to take the good information, the good seed, and all the things that you have that are really great and pour into an atmosphere or the conditions that is not prepared for it. So my wife and I, we end up. She bought like she bought some organic jalapenos. She loved jalapenos, and I love the pickle ones. I'm not a big jalapeno fan, unless they're in grits, with some cheese, and they still have to be pickled for me because they can get hot. But she loves them. She loves them. So I want to show you like this plant that we have, and I want to show you this plant, and it's a jalapeno plant. But I want to show you like this. This is the little sticker that came in the plant, like, organic jalapenos. And on the back of it, it tells you all these things to do. It tells you all these things to help create the conditions to produce jalapenos. And I want to show you kind of all our jalapeno plant. It's in like a little bucket. So here's our plant. And you'll see that it does actually have a few jalapenos on it. Let me see. You probably can see there's one right there. You see that one? There's one right there. Yeah, you see that? There's one that's coming. You see it right there. I'm trying to get my camera around. Got a few up here. Look at there. Look at there. Got a few there. Got one right there. So you see the jalapeno. So but basically we look at that and we realize what we needed to do to make sure we got it. And this is actually the second time this thing has produced jalapenos. We picked some before and eaten them, and now it's producing more. And but it's because we actually had the conditions for it. And so my words to you today, and I will say some tips to you, that if you want change, if you want to see something different, if you want to create high performance teams, you want to create classroom management, if you want to create social change, acceptance, there has to be an intentionality to create the conditions for it. And I hope that you would take what I'm saying and really learn. Like, first of all, I have to determine what the conditions is, and I got to be willing to dig through a lot of stuff to remove it, because if not, there'll be things that will disrupt the good seed or the good information that we have and that we put out into the conditions or the ground. And whatever we're doing in business or a nonprofit or education, it does not matter. What's the conditions of the ground, and how do we identify the things that can become barriers or hindrances, remove them so the conditions would be better for what you're doing to create change. So I really appreciate you guys listening, and I'm going to put out a lot more videos as I kind of go along through my experiences in life, from born and raised in Selma, Alabama. Just being trained by a man that walked alongside Dr. King and trained many protesters in the nonviolence movement. I will share information with you. I will look to connect with you. I will look to support you by putting videos out so that I can help anybody that is in need, no matter where you are. Okay? So you want change? Let's develop the conditions first for change.